Hello, everyone, and welcome to the UBPros Q&A. We are now at the number 158. It's getting quite large.
Fine.
What?
We're at 59.
59. Yeah, of course. We have 59. And today I'm joined by Alfred
Hello, everyone.
and by Aptly
Hello.
and by me.
Hello.
Hello, Mario.
Hello. Right.
So,
So
I think we're still at the phase where we're booting up, it seems.
Yeah.
Let's kickstart it. Pun intended. Because I have a big news. We managed to sign the partnership with Lunar, which is the company behind the Brex3 form. So in partnership with Robert Brexman. So yeah, that's a good thing because Lunar will create the port for Ubuntu Touch. We are not responsible for it, but we will help promote the device, and we will have a discount code for the member of our community. So that's good news for people who want to try this new device that will support Ubuntu Touch. So very good thing. Sadly, we couldn't have today Robert Brexman or any of the people from behind Lunar, but hopefully they can join another time, so you can ask them your questions. Basically, that's the big news of the day. And also to talk on another topic, this morning I gave also a talk about developing for Ubuntu Touch at the FOSS Fest, which is a hackathon organized by the company OSI. So I was very lucky to give a talk there, and I already know that it was a talk I wanted to do for a long time, and I also noticed some improvements that I will incorporate into my presentation for the future. And maybe I will make a video for this channel. Let's see, maybe in a month, a year. I don't know. I don't have a deadline on this, but that's something I want to do.
That sounds good. Good job. Did you like it?
Yeah.
Yeah, I always enjoyed doing talks. I talk a lot.
Spreading the good word of Ubuntu Touch.
Yes.
There we go. That's good. Good news. Should we head over to the GitLab changes?
Yeah.
I've noticed one particular thing just a few moments ago, and that is something for starting off with G settings Qt, add support for Qt6. Marius did something. What
I
was
did.
that?
So I have added Qt6 support, and also Mike has also helped out with that. He has finished it up with the Debian packaging and some CMake magic. But yeah, this is the initial start at Qt6. There is also more than this that hasn't been merged yet. But this also goes hand in hand with some of my experiments, which I will talk about later. But it's the start to be able to run Qt6 applications, and also one of the motivation. The biggest motivation is the browser, of course, but the second motivation is Debian, because Debian is also moving away from Qt5 to Qt6. So that's also something we're trying to follow, and also eventually Ubuntu Touch.
Something I want to say there. Also, Ubuntu is considering dropping all the Qt5 stuff for the next LTS, which means we need to, rush this thing through, and hopefully we do so without breaking anything. Since the 2604 will be a very long support release, very long in the sense of LTS plus some additional enterprise support, so to say, which means they can't they can't deal with old packages in the archive. So that means they will have to do something, and we will have to do even more to get this thing up on par.
Yeah.
So it will be a long road ahead.
Yeah. Happily, I can say that porting to Qt 6 it's especially for the components that hasn't been rewritten, like Qt Media, which is a problem. But the other parts, most of them are pretty straightforward to port. They're not as bad as I initially thought. But some of the more harder parts, with, as I said, Qt Media, but also some of the QPA and graphic stack has been also a little bit modified. That's also something that we need to tackle. But I don't think it will. It of course it will be a lot of work, but I think it will be less work than what at least I thought.
It's not the worst scenario.
Yeah.
Qt 5 to Qt 6 is a quite easy one, so to say.
Yeah,
compared to Qt 4 to Qt 5.
Yeah, Qt 4 to Qt 5 was horrible.
Which we didn't, as Ubuntu Touch, we didn't live through because it started with Qt 5. But as someone who has been developing with Qt for a long time, I only know that Qt 4 was slightly different, especially in the QML area, where hardware acceleration was there, but it was slightly different from the rendering perspective and how the QML engine was, doing its thing, so to say. It was quite a little different. It was before Qt declarative existed, so that it was the first step towards what we now know as QML.
Yeah.
Actually, another thing that I remember, well, no, I forgot. I forgot. But actually, no, there's one question that I have, and that is, do we have anything to say about OTA 8 and voice over LTE on the MediaTek ones?
Right. So here we are running on an issue with well, it's the same issue with MediaTek. A Vola device, which the mobile data is not working correctly, or well, at least for some people, it's not working with the new binder plugin, and the binder plugin is required for VoLTE. So that's the current status. I think the Nikita is trying to get that working, and it really that's the major issue in Octave 8.
I do see something though with the Quintus in the code here or in the repositories, and that is the MediaTek plugin is already enabled. So it might be that, I mean, it's just me observing it. I'm not a representative of Vola, but it's just me observing that it might be releasing with voice over LTE enabled. So
yeah.
Sequentus. Having some fun with Sequentus.
But I don't think that was the device that had a problem.
Right. Okay. Interesting.
But yeah, I can search that up a little bit more and come back with a more accurate answer on what's the current state, because we had a meeting yesterday, but a lot has probably happened in the last 24 hours, if I know Nikita.
That's true, yeah.
Yeah, it's moving fast.
Yeah, definitely. Also, another thing that I want to mention is the Lumira UI toolkit based on Ubuntu Core 24, the content snap that allows snap packagers to release Ubuntu Touch applications as snaps running on Ubuntu desktop and all supported other distributions out there. So I've updated it. First of all, I've ensured that most of the QML or all of the QML modules that are usually used as part of Ubuntu Touch are actually in there, including the ones from Qt themselves. So all the layouts, all the various different QML modules that you can expect from a regular Qt release are in there. They're pulled from the Ubuntu archive. And also what now is working is Qt Web Engine. So applications running with Qt Web Engine are now able to pull that in through this content snap. So it's sort of like this platform idea that we have in Ubuntu Touch, where we have the base system and then applications sitting on top of that. And the content snap provides all the various libraries and modules, and the application just has to take them from there. So without wasting space, every Lemiri application or every Lemiri UI toolkit application is going to use the same one. And we've tested this. Also, shout outs to Lothar Ketterer for Delta Touch. We've tested this with Delta Touch, and it allows now to have Delta Touch apps running inside of Delta Touch. So that is something cool here, I think. And I'm also in the process. It might also have finished already. After the show, I will take a look at GStreamer and all the multimedia stuff, so that we can ensure that Lemiri UI toolkit applications also have multimedia working, including the camera and video playback.
Yeah, that's great news. Because it will allow to be used as well on the desktop, and maybe have other developers that used to develop for desktop and make something that will work for Ubuntu Touch natively. So
Also,
that would be amazing.
Also, something for the future, which I've already proposed and I'm waiting for input, is shipping a demonstration of a Snapcraft file with the examples that get created from Clickable Create, so that you can have Clickable already ship with Snapcrafting capabilities, where you can build the same application with Clickable and also with Snapcraft, just one for Ubuntu Touch as a click, and one for all the different platforms that support snaps using Snapcraft. So I'm looking forward to seeing more Lemiri UI toolkit applications running out there. I mean, isn't that what the convergence thing is about? Just because we have it separated in snaps and clicks doesn't necessarily mean we shouldn't be able to benefit off of the same applications running everywhere. So we will have pretty much the convergence idea applied to applications where they can run on the desktop and also on mobile. And that's also that has been the goal for Ubuntu Touch also before it was handed over to us. So I'm pretty sure that they over at Canonical and Ubuntu, they probably see it as something of a continuation of their own efforts.
I hope so.
Mm-hmm. All right. We also have some experiments. What do you think? Should we head over to them?
Yeah.
All right. Also, something that is related to snaps, and I will have to present this screen here. Where is the screen? Where is the screen? There is the screen. Do you see this?
Yeah.
This is a laptop running Lemiri and Delta Touch, but you can see over at the top here, the indicators are not working. Now, why is that? Well, it's a start of a new thing, and that is running Lemiri as a snap. And with that, we have, this is actually Lemiri packaged as a classic snap. So it's not completely confined. It allows starting other applications. It allows shipping a desktop environment like Lemiri. And here we have also a snapped up Delta Touch, which is ironically the only application right now starting in this environment. I still need to figure out what's going on here. But here we have Lemiri as a snap, installed as a snap, and it adds itself to the login manager, to the display manager, so you can just select during the login Lemiri as a snap. It logs into it and starts it, and it also works basically right now with both Lemiri as a snap and Lemiri from the Debian or Ubuntu archive installed. They will use the same settings. So It's not completely confined. It's using classic confinement, which means it's following the expectation of a regular Linux distribution environment, where not everything is read-only, not everything is separated from each other, but working as one environment on the system. So I'm liking this, and I want to pursue this further so that we can have Lumiri shipped as a snap one day, installable on other distributions also.
Yeah, so it would be very, very, very good.
That's really nice.
Okay,
Yeah.
stop the sharing. There are also other experiments. I think Mario's added some here.
Yeah, so I have quite a lot of things cooking up. So you probably have heard about them before, but there has been some progress since last time. Well, 2 weeks since last time. So the first thing is the Morph Qt 6. It now runs without crashing, which is it is progress, and I'm planning to release it as a Click package. I just need to figure out how to package everything into Click because there's a lot of components now since it's Qt 6. And also, since it's running on Wayland, and there is something that also is experimenting is the Mir QPA on Qt 6, so we can use the Mir client. If that's too much work, I'm probably not going to do it and stick with Wayland. But if it's easy enough to do, we can run it with Mir client, which is what the other application is using, which fits better into currently to the system. Other than that, I have Mir 2 on high-res now, running Lumiri quite nicely. It has some issues with hot plugging, which is plugging into displays. It has some issues with mouse input and detecting that. So there is quite a lot of things left to do, but at least now the rendering parts works, and the basic kind of functionality is in. So that's starting to get shape together. That part was a lot harder than I initially thought, but
Always is.
it always is. Yeah, it was really an annoying roadblock I got into. So I think I used like 3 weeks on one specific issue, which was figure out the OpenGL rendering BS, basically. Not to get too into it. And also some of my other experiments, which has been VoLT for Qualcomm devices, it now come to a point where I can put it up for testing. It is functioning, it is running, it's not crashing anymore when you send SMS or receive SMS. It is, however, having a problem with dual calls, so that's something I was currently looking at before I joined this call or joined this session or Q&A. So yeah, I have a lot of things cooking up in my my basement, to say. Well, it's not a basement anymore. It was a basement, but
Now it got raised.
I
Quality
got
of
raised
life. Yeah,
But yeah,
you
so
have a wife now, so
I have a
you
wife.
to-
Yeah, I got
You
raised
cannot
up.
live in a basement anymore.
No, you can't that. But yeah, all of these have, of course, taken longer than expected. This is like the normal thing with development. Everything's take longer than everyone expects, and that. So I am hopefully getting to the point now where stuff can be tested and used by others, and see at least the morph part is I think something that people really is going to enjoy, because I for myself is having quite pain every day because of the damn browser. It's annoying though, because why is the web like so not the backwards compatible? Like the browser is not that old, right?
Right.
It's
Yeah. the internet evolves to a way that is not so standard anymore. So
Yeah,
and,
it's
I see the same push with Chromium, with Chrome, as we've seen with Internet Explorer at the time.
Mm.
For me, it's because there's one mainstream browser, and everyone is developing for this browser and not for the others anymore. And so they always push new release, new features, new stuff. Yeah, it's a shame.
yeah, it is also something that Firefox, I think, is struggling with a lot, because I am using Firefox myself, and there is incompatible with some pages, and it is annoying.
Yeah, we saw that with Jitsi, for example. Depending on the instances we run on, it works on Chromium and not on Firefox, or vice versa. So,
Yeah, it is a pity, but I think the web has come to the point where it's mostly Google just having the control. I hope we can get back that control, but it seems like Mozilla is also not going the right directions lately with the whole AI marketing type deal they're doing. But it's better than Google, I guess. But yeah, that has been my not so basement anymore experiments.
Very nice. Very nice. Good job. All right. 21 minutes and 30 seconds. We should head over to the applications.
Yeah, I will try to be fast on this one because, first of all, we don't have a lot of updates this couple of weeks compared to the previous times. But we have 4 new, completely new apps by one developer. So thanks a lot, Anders Dev, for all those apps. It's not a revolution because it's not a native apps as we love them, but it's more web applications, probably with some new features in most of them, but targeted at some interesting things. So we have Ubidu Sport. Yes, Marius?
This is by by Chromium OS guy.
Yeah. No, this one is different. It's by Chromium OS guy. Yeah, you're right. And this one is web app for front end for YouTube. So it's an alternative way to connect to YouTube. But yes, the other one, Revolut, mBank, and Gorg are from the same Anders Dev guy. So an unofficial web app for accessing Revolut for your bank thing. We have some other bank stuff for Poland. So many people can be interested in this. And GOG, which I don't know this website, but yeah.
Good old games.
It's a gaming website, yeah.
Yeah, but don't have time anymore for that. I use only AAAs.
Are we getting old now?
Maybe, or maybe just the time is. My efforts are put elsewhere.
I personally also haven't played games in a long time. To be fair, the only game that I have played was in the last year was You Don't Know Jack. And those out there who know this game, we're cool. We're cool with each other.
The only game I am playing this year, I think it's There Is No Game, which is kind of ironic.
And the last one is an update. It's Timesheet from Synchronix Technologies. So Timesheet is an app allowing you to work with Odoo, I think, if I remember correctly. Weirdly, there's no
there are no details. Shout out to everyone out there who does add descriptions to their listing page.
Please. If you press into the developer, you can go to the beta version. There's more information.
Oh yeah, That's what I remembered. There was something on this app. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah. I think that's it for the applications.
Very
I think
nice.
it's now time to thank our sponsors.
Yeah.
And so we have to thank Smooth, Vola, Pine64, Weinstein, DigitalOcean, Netlify, Odoo Community Association, Private Internet Access, Gardner and Associates Consulting Incorporated, Tixia, GitLab, Cloud Run, Codlutin, and Gandhi.net. And we also have a lot of you that are.
May I do the patrons list now?
Oh, you can. Don't forget the 5 special at the end that are the random ones.
I won't. I've come up with something new. I'll go like some. Do you know when you play music and it goes down in speed and it sounds very slow and stuff. Okay, so let's go through this. Athiel, Adam Helvelka, Conspy, Daniel Franchuk, Heather Ellsworth, Jose Angels, Guracility, Caleb Clark, Kenneth Drew, Linus Roon, Luigi 311, Marty McFly Jr., Marcel Tech, Mike Kellner, Mr. T 10001, Omegas, Pavel Arnost, PK, Robin Hood, Rondarius Spindios, Stephen Tevetson, Will Atwood. And also the random 5s are Jonathan Frederickson, Camel Code, Mateo Bellet, Walter Garcia Fontes, and Charles Upondo. Okay, I'm glad I didn't go through those quickly.
Yeah,
when you get used to the names, it's getting easier.
Yeah, that's what I was about to say. It's we're starting to cheat a bit, and so it's great to have new names to really push us to our limits.
Yes. So thanks everyone for donating and sponsoring us. And also we have a shop. Shall we mention the shop?
We should.
Yeah.
So if you want to get some amazing merch from our online store, head over to the URL listed here. It's ueports.com/en/shop. And I'm not sure if the /en is needed, but needless to say, you can get some cool socks there and coffee mugs, if I remember correctly.
Yeah, the EN is not required. I just tested it.
Excuse me?
The EN is not required. I just tested it.
Nice. And yeah, if you want to show your support publicly, so to say, or among your friends, you can show them your cool coffee mug with a uni on it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or stickers, or a plushie, or sweaters, or t-shirts.
Also plushies, yes.
Oh yeah, the plushies. Those are really nice.
You can cuddle them.
Yeah, you can.
And if you want to,
you can put them behind you like Apple is doing.
Yeah.
Or that, yeah. Upside down.
Because it's flying.
Yes.
It's flying, yeah.
It's doing a stunt. It's doing a stunt.
Doing the Spider-Man thing.
Yeah, right. Exactly.
Spider-Man thing.
You can also give us a donation directly to ubeports.com/donate. Yeah, through different means. You can SEPA transfer in Europe, you can use Patreon, you can use LiberaPay, or probably other means that are listed on the webpage. Thanks everyone who donates. It's really important for us, and it keeps the lights on.
It does.
It does, yeah.
All right.
Now, is it time for the questions?
We do have some questions indeed. Yes, and we should
some of them, just a little.
Yeah, a handful, more or a few handful. All right, let's go over to Conspy's question, and that is targeted at me. I'm curious, Alfred, why did you choose WebKit for your new browser instead of Gecko? In theory, a Firefox-like browser would be able to have add-ons, or is there anything that makes it impossible to do so, since all the repos of Firefox clickable projects I could find are abandoned. Lately, I've been daily driving LineageOS on another phone because of the few apps I need, most importantly Firefox with uBlock. But having used only iPhones before UT, I can't deal with how unintuitive Android is, so I'm back with UT. It just needs a great native browser, not in Waydroid. So
Yeah.
my rationale behind WebKit was, first of all, there are multiple reasons. First of all, this session here I'm doing on a MacBook, and I am familiar with a few Apple-related technologies, and not so much as with Linux, by no stretch of the imagination. But it's come to a point where I am very keen on getting something from the Apple ecosystem over to our platform, because if it works on an iPhone, it should also work on our stuff. And with that, it was a no-brainer to me. Also, the Gecko efforts from Sailfish OS, they have they're slow because they're complicated. They're hard to fix issues, and there are blog posts noting down what happened over the course of porting it over to Sailfish OS. That includes changes to graphics stuff and ensuring that everything works properly on the platform. And it's taking a lot of time for them, and they're already doing it. So I figured it makes more sense for me to take something that is a little different. Also, WebKit also has support for plugins or extensions, web extensions, which is one thing that I've enabled already. It's just not hooked up to any UI at all. But in theory, you could just load some extension that has been written for the browser for WebKit on a Linux machine and just run it, assuming it's built for the architecture at hand, so ARM64 for the phones. But yeah, I think WebKit is also a very fine option, considering that it's one of the very few open source and free software projects. Well, more open source than free software projects shipped by Apple. And yeah, that was basically the rationale behind it.
Isn't it also that WebKit has some built-in libraries to be able to embed it, which both Chromium and what's it?
Yes. So we're not using WebKit as is. We're using WPE WebKit, which is also part of the WebKit source repository, which basically means it's not using. There are basically two ports to Linux from WebKit, and that is GTK WebKit or WebKit GTK and WPE WebKit. And WPE WebKit is the embedded version, which ships on a handful of, more than a handful, to be honest, embedded devices out there, which makes sure that memory consumption is at a low and that it performs in low memory situations and low performance situations just as much as it should, compared to a beefy desktop in front of you, right?
Yeah.
All right. We have another question from Stanwood.
Yeah,
wants to take this?
So Stanwood just asks, just curious, any news about the brand new Brax 3 device with Ubuntu Touch? It's almost ready to be shipped March 2024. 2025 actually. There's a thread here on the forum which have a last update in December 2024. As I said in the introduction, we just came with an official agreement with Lunar, the company behind the Brax 3. So we will partner with them. Mostly we will do the promotion and the support of the operating system, of course, but they are responsible for the port. And it seems they already started with someone that was familiar with porting Ubuntu Touch on devices. I don't know who it is exactly, And hopefully we will have more informations later if we can have people from Zen here on the show, which cannot happen today, but hopefully it will be soon. At least I know that everyone is really passionate about this, and Lunar has also experience in releasing phones. So it's not that they promise things that they can't deliver. They know that they will be able to deliver, and I trust that. So that's a very good thing. It's not like I don't think there will be some delays, or at least not major ones like we had for other devices.
There we go.
We have also another question by Quailex.
Can you add multi-language support to UbiPorts installer? Some of us like Ubuntu Touch but can't read English. Yeah. That sounds like a good thing to propose, but we don't have it yet. So, I mean, if someone is willing to put the effort in, we certainly would like to get some help here. I can't see a reason why we wouldn't want to have this, but of course it needs another component being translated over, which I'm pretty sure someone is happy to do out there to translate it over to their language. But it certainly needs code inside of the UbiPorts installer to accomplish that.
Yeah.
We could also there's an answer from Carl, and there is also
Carl stated his opinion about this and proposed to install an extension with the internet browser, but it's involving the developer to translate everything that he sees on the screen, so that's maybe not so convenient.
Yes, indeed.
And we have a question from Cookie. Someone else is supposed to ask this, but in case we forget, no one is supposed to, but you can ask it if you read it or elsewhere. 5G is already working on Fairphone 5 focal devel channel. Can we expect 5G on other devices too, like the Fairphone 4, or will it have to wait until Noble? Thanks.
Well, actually, I think the Fairphone 4, if I'm not mistaken, on Devil is already having support for this. I will double check that just to be 100% sure.
What does it actually need to? Does it actually need some feature flag to enable it, or is it?
No, it needs the new binder plugin basically, and also you need to bump the radio interface version.
Oh, I see. Okay, interesting.
So it's not a specific flag per se. Let me check. I don't remember what. So yeah, we are not using that on Fairphone 4 yet, but I'm pretty sure that there is a pull request here. Yeah, so there is a pull request here which enables it, but this probably won't be enabled in Focal as you said. This will probably come in Noble, since Focal is OTA 8 will probably be, if not the last, but one of the last Focal releases.
Which is fair. I mean, we've been let's be honest. We've been working on Focal for a long time, and people have been waiting for 2404 for a long time also. So it only makes sense to switch over to that as soon as possible.
Yeah. Yeah, Noble is it's working quite nice. Like basically all the base components and everything works. The only thing that's really missing right now is proper app support with like the correct framework and everything. And we discussed that also on the DevSync yesterday, to get that framework in, so we can speed up a little bit and create Devil and RC channels for Noble and start branching out instead of using the next branch.
Also,
So-
app support is supposed to allow working with 2004 apps as well, right?
Yes, so that's the plan. And there's also some talks in how we can keep the ABI from the old from Focal to Noble, but the biggest change has been libSSL, which has upgraded from libSSL 1 to 3.
Yeah.
So we might chip libSSL 1 also in Noble, but we need to go over and see how many apps that actually directly uses it, and also we need to see how like Qt should be ABI compatible, but we don't know yet. 100%.
There's some apps that work, but I've noticed in my own testing that at least Ghost Cloud is crashing here. So it's a case by case situation. So not every application is going to work out of the box from 2004 to 2404. Some apps might need to be recompiled. Is what the ABI stability guarantee means in plain English.
Yeah.
Great. We have another question by Vlad Nurki. Vlad asks, says, "Good evening and thousand thanks for all your hard work on behalf of the community." And I join you with that. Huge thanks to all the contributors. I was wondering what alternative to use under Ubuntu Touch to replace Google Calendar. Phase by phase, I'm firing the Google tools still present in my environment. Best regards. Yeah, and there already was some answer on the forum, and I totally agree with the first one at least, which is from Aruba Islander, which says adding a Nextcloud account in settings and then syncing it with your calendar is a great way to do so. I do this myself, and it works pretty good. The syncing had some issues recently, but it has been worked on, and hopefully it will be fixed on the next OTA. I don't know about that. I didn't check.
Yeah, thanks to Lionel for all the account synchronization things here. The changes that have landed, without him, those changes wouldn't be as good, and they're only going to get better especially with Noble, also with context sync. If you remember a few, like, I don't know, 10, 15 episodes ago, we had Lionel with us during the show, and he was showcasing the performance improvements and also all the functionality of the new contacts back end, and they worked pretty well from what I could see. And I'm so eager to get them in my own hands. So I'm looking forward to that.
Yeah. I will also give a shout out to Christatos and Udo, who also gave some ways to give up on Google. So Christatos says that he's using the calendar with his email provider, Posteo, just so you know. And Udo is running his own Nextcloud as well, and it works like a charm for him. So that's great.
All right. Also, I see Udo asking a question here. Hello together. Are there any progress in the possibility to use assisted GPS to have a quicker fix? Sometimes it takes a lot of time to get a fix, and often we're talking about the GPS fix here. And often, if you have no time at all, you have to reboot the phone and wait 20 minutes to get a fix. So a GPS would be a big improvement. Best regards, Naomi.
Right. So there has been some work there, and the thing here is that GPS fixed, like assisted GPS, we can do that multiple ways. We can either provide a supplement server to the binary blobs to do it behind the binary blobs, or we could have ourselves our own implementation which uses triangulate from cell towers to find your position, which is what a GPS is. But we could also do it like in Lumiri location service. For now, the easiest thing that we can do is use the binary blobs assisted GPS service. The only problem here is kind of the privacy aspect of it, because the supplement server that's used there is Google's. We could do some supplement proxy, or we could use a different service. But to date, I don't know of any supplement server that's supported by them other than Google's.
Right.
Yeah.
But of course, we could have a what we could do if we do it, we could have a switch in system settings that's off by default, but you could turn it on. But then you agree that you are using Google supplement server, which we don't know what the information goes there, really.
Yeah, HGPS and all the GPS stuff that we've been getting this over the years very often. We know it's a pain point to us as well. We've seen some movements there, but I don't know. There's also Alexander working on it, so we might get something working. Also, I've seen some report that the Fairphone 5 might have quicker GPS fix overall, because it might already be working with that, but it's not guaranteed, and I've not seen it myself, so it might be a case-by-case situation again. The quickest GPS fix actually that I got was with the Xperia X from 2016. So like 5 years ago, I was running around with that in Vienna, and I was getting a GPS fix like within a few seconds. And but that was also during being outside of a building. So yeah,
It's also the initial GPS fix that takes time, and if your
Also.
device has not used GPS in a while, it takes a while to what they call warm up. So if you use GPS often, you usually get a fix pretty fast. Usually, per se. But I will take a question here from the live chat, which is kind of on the same line. What does assisted GPS really mean in practice? So assisted GPS is a way to get a quicker fix, or when we say fix, we mean your location, to get your location. Yeah, basically a pin on the map where you are. Since that takes a lot of time going back and forth and trying to find different. So what GPS is doing is that it tracks the locations of the different satellites, yeah, and then it calculates based on those satellites where you are on Earth, using timing and whatnot, because the time it takes from the cell tower, from your phone to the satellite. Assisted GPS does pretty much the same, but it uses cell towers. So it uses the position of the cell towers, then it measures the strength, the signal strength between those different cell towers, and then it estimates where you are based on those. And assisted GPS we can get immediately because we know those cell towers immediately. Yeah, go ahead.
Which is also the assisted GPS way is a little it's not as precise as proper GPS through satellites, but it's enough for many cases where you want to figure out a rough estimate where you are actually located. So it goes between a few meters, like I would say 20 meters or 30 meters, maybe 50.
Yeah, maybe even 50, or yeah, it's enough. And they also use it to get the position of the GPS satellites up in the sky, in your sky, given to your location. You have a map of where they are supposed to be, and it helps getting the first fix from those GPS. because you wouldn't want to just listen to GPS that are close to the horizon. You want to have one right above and in different axes.
Yeah,
it's complicated.
it is complicated. And
the assisted really means we are assisting the satellite-based GPS location via the means of locating you through the cell towers. That's all what assisted GPS means.
Yeah. And there's also something called X something, which is the lookup table that lookup table where the cell towers should be at any position at any time of day. But also assisted GPS could also mean IP based, which is wildly inaccurate, but yeah.
Right. All right, we have one last question here. Hello, I would like to know if the limitation of QML for app development is based on a technical reasons or simply a lack of manpower to have support for other toolkits, or is it a matter of integration? Best regards and thank you for your work. So the reason for QML to be taken for Ubuntu Touch initially by Canonical was that QML and Qt provided GPU accelerated rendering before GTK even dreamt of it. So only recently, over the last, I would say 4 years or 3 years, we've seen, or since GTK4 has been around, we've seen GTK applications using the GPU more and more. And there are more improvements coming to the renderers with every release. But QML and Qt already had, or Qt already had GPU acceleration from the get-go. So this was one of the main reasons. Also, it allowed to implement a specific toolkit for the use case of having a convergent environment, which was not on GTK's roadmap back then. I hope I did my homework here. I'm just repeating what I know from history. But needless to say, GTK was not envisioning any mobile use whatsoever back then. And for Canonical to release something, what they wanted to release, it needed additional work based on Qt and QML. Also, for many app developers, QML, especially for those coming from web environments, QML is very helpful to or quick to understand because it allows to use JavaScript for those pieces of code that are not performance critical for that for the pieces, or even if it's having a little bit of a tax on the CPU, it's still allowing for rapid development of an application, which can then be moved over to C++. And the integration with C++ for native code is the key thing here. It's a blessing almost because it allows to do easy development for those types of applications that are easy to do, but also allow more sophisticated applications to be implemented using C++. And providing that with hardware acceleration it's just it was the perfect match, and it still is the perfect match in my own personal opinion.
Yeah, one thing to also mention is that Qt is also optimized to run on phones already. Like Qt can run on both Android and iOS, which means that there's a lot more applications written in Qt for mobile devices, which GTK currently doesn't have. I've not seen any iOS or Android application from GTK. But yeah.
There's one thing coming up recently with GTK, and that is Android support. They're only starting with that. Only recently, like a few weeks ago.
Interesting.
And and Qt is also targeting embedded devices in general. For IoT or other means. So yeah, it's a perfect match, as you said. I share your opinion, Edward.
I think if you own a car with a modern display, it most likely is running Qt.
Right.
Yeah. I know people in the automotive industry, and they are all coding in Qt.
Yeah.
Well then.
Yeah.
There's
We
one
have,
question that I would like to take, if I may.
yeah, please.
It's this one. Do we have full GPU acceleration in the devices that run OT already? We do. All the UI that you see rendered is running on the GPU using OpenGL, and also with the video playback, it's using, at least for the native video playback support, and with Morph browser, we're using the OMX side, the Halium side OMX services. So we're using the hardware acceleration as provided by the BSP blob, and it works pretty well. So all the non-optimized things, when you see some stutter, it might be some non-optimization in maybe the display panel or something like that.
Yeah.
I want to take also questions that came from the beginning of the show by Mash. What is the best way to port? Oh, that's a good one, I guess. The best way is to try.
Yeah. If you've not ported yourself before, then you might as well just give it a shot and just stick with it for as long as possible in order to get something working over the course of a few days, I would say. Porting nowadays is very easy compared to the Halium 7.1 days, where basically all the things were scattered around the place, all the individual components that make up a Halium port were scattered around the place. And now with the generic system image approach of Android, or Project Treble rather, now with that, we're not shipping GSIs. We're using one generic system image, and that allows to have something working pretty quickly, considering that the only things that you need to change are kernel modifications to your device. So kernel modifications are something that you will have to do, especially for AppArmor, especially for enabling compatibility with existing drivers on your phone, with kernel mode drivers on your phone, so that when you compile your own kernel, it still works with the drivers that are shipped with the vendor side of things.
Thank you for this detailed answer. And I saw the last one that I wanted to answer. This is from Christopher. If I'd like to partner with UbiPorts to sell phones and tablet natively running Ubuntu Touch, and the rest of the question is, how does one do so? Well, you have to contact the board of directors of the foundation that is in charge with partnership and relationship with suppliers in some case, or sponsors. So you can write to this email address, bod@ubiports.com. This is a generic address for the board of directors. So bod@ubiports.com. And yeah, that would be great. We need partners that will be able to supply new devices, because as many people have stated in the chat, in the forums, and here during the show, it's harder and harder to find phones that allows you to unlock your bootloader and to be porting compatible, I will say. So yeah, that would be great to have more partners on this front, and that's why also we are already happy and enthusiastic about the partnership with Brax.
Yeah.
So yeah, thank you.
Very nice.
Yeah. Do you see any other question, Marius, on the chat that you wanted to answer?
No, not yet.
I have one that I see, or it's less of a question, more like a statement. It's from Pola Polaris. Add support for x86 programs, support for Wine to be able to run PC games and PC programs natively, like they're currently doing on Android with projects like Winlayer and Mobox. Well, to be fair, we're providing a phone OS and not a toy here. But But for the toy use case, there is already Winebox released on the open store, so you can actually run Wine applications on your Ubuntu Touch device, which actually works on my Jingpad with Notepad++ over X Wayland using Wine and Box 64. So those kinds of toy use cases are accomplishable, but I'm very sure we are not in the position of doing so as the main project.
Yeah, I don't think that would perform very good on a phone at all.
Right. All right, we've hit the hour mark.
Yeah, and we have Twoje Mama that asks his question has been lost. So it's targeted to Marius. Do you want to answer it, or is it
Yeah,
another one? I don't
can answer
understand
that.
everything.
Yeah, they ask, does it still need to be Qualcomm device with radio interface 1.5? So devices on Android 10 with 1.14 will not work with Volt. So no, it doesn't necessarily need 1.5. For example, Fairphone 4 and Fairphone 4 is using 1.4. So that should work just fine. VoLTE isn't necessarily using the radio info interface. It uses a proprietary interface from Qualcomm. So 1.5 and 1.4 both should work fine. But most tested on 1.5. I think the limit actually is 1.2.
Right. Yeah, I noticed this when trying to, and failing, by the way, getting this running on the Pixel 3a, which also, I mean, it loads and it figures out, hey, there is something, but then configuring the modem doesn't work for whatever reason, which I've not figured out yet. Which is a call for help out there, especially if you're a user from the US. Please, if you want the Pixel 3a to support voice over LTE, please help me out here. Get in touch with me, or figure it out and present the results to me with a proposal on GitLab. Because right now, the way that things are going, the Pixel 3a is not going to get voice over LTE support, and is not going to get dragged through to have the support at all. Simply because there's a time limit, and I can only do so much in my spare time with the Pixel 3a anymore. Also, I've mentioned this already in a previous Q&A. My carrier doesn't necessarily have support for the Pixel 3a, which is a bummer because I can't test it by that definition. And I see Marius is having some fun eating here. Enjoy your meal.
Yeah,
my wife brings me pizza, so
I think that's a good way to end here.
You should marry her. I guess a woman who brings you pizza like this is
That's key.
someone to. Yeah,
that's the only reason why I'm married. No. No, I'm joking.
Actually, that reminds me of Dragon Ball, where Son Goku was confused about about the word marriage because he thought it had to do with food.
Yeah, it has to. So I guess that's it for today.
I will take one more that it just came in here. Uberhertz, is it an independent mobile operating system or just a port of the Android system? No, it's completely independent, and we run on Linux, GNU/Linux to be specific, and we run on Ubuntu, so it's completely independent and not part of the Android system.
Right. The only thing to keep in mind is that we are reusing Android blobs and drivers.
Yeah.
Reusing them, we're not an Android system. We're just taking them and making them work so that we have a fully working system on the phone.
Yeah.
Yeah. Important question that we need to answer almost every time. But yeah, it's good to remember that that no, we are not just a ROM of Android.
Yes.
It's a completely different operating system that is ready for daily use if you don't have a lot of expectations.
Well,
Yeah, I'm simple enough to just get away with using Ubuntu Touch on a daily basis, but some other people might have different use cases that
Yeah.
will not.
I mean,
totally
yeah.
agree with it.
if you want to do your Instagrams on your phone, you might have to stick with a web browser or with Waydroid. So there we go.
Yeah, that's kind of the chicken and egg problem with that we have, is that we do not have enough user for corporations like Instagram, Facebook, Meta, whatever. Yeah, to notice us, but we also don't have enough user because we don't have apps. So it's a hard balance. But I think I think that's not really the main point of Ubuntu Touch. It's not to have those, at least now, but I think it's to break free from Google and Android. I think it's the technology freedom.
Yeah, it's a statement.
Yeah, more or less.
We are here, and we are here to last.
We're here to stay.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the thing with Android. And even though Android is open source, Google are closing down more and more APIs as we speak. So with each Android release, they are locking down more and more of the APIs.
Yes.
Or replacing them and deprecating the other ones, to say it correctly.
And locking down the users.
Core applications also, where the open source applications look very much outdated and are not comparable to what you get from a recent Android phone. So
yeah, it's getting more and more Google centric in that matter. Like if you buy a phone today, even like the messaging app is a proprietary Google app.
Yeah. And also because you see the question here, we need WhatsApp. You can have WhatsApp in Waydroid. You just install Waydroid or the Waydroid helper from the Open Store and run WhatsApp inside of that. So you can have your WhatsApps, you can have your signals. It's just running inside of a container inside Android in a window, so to say.
Yeah.
All right, we really late. We're running late. So thanks everyone for joining us tonight. Any final last words from anybody of you?
We love you.
Chicken.
Let's get let's get to be the #1 mobile operating system.
Yay!
Yay! Let's try to do it this year.
Yeah. And we'll continue trying.
Yeah.
Thanks everyone for joining us, and we hope to see you the next time.
Yeah. See you. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.